Sorry, George.
We're back.
Hello, hello. Yes, we are back. And now we're going to go to George.
Yes, my movie, A Rainy Day in New York, 2019. It's a rom-com.
I got an interview with Roland Pollard.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing. And it's on campus?
It's in Manhattan.
We're always talking about going into Manhattan for a special weekend. This is gonna be absolutely fantastic.
Later, maybe we could take a carriage ride.
Yeah.
If it doesn't rain. You're by far the most interesting American director.
Since this is your first meaningful assignment, would you like a scoop?
Of? I can't make lunch.
Why not?
It's going through this real artistic crisis. It's a scoop.
Gatsby, nice to see you. It's good to see you. What are you doing?
Just out here trying to create a modern film noir classic.
Okay, all right.
Do you want to be in it?
Hey.
Should we do this? Hey, are you gonna keep your mouth closed?
I have a girlfriend, Chan. I don't think I could do this.
Scene 19, take 2.
Action.
Josh, it's starting to rain.
And cut.
See? I knew you could do it.
Hey,
and I
Josh.
won't tell your girlfriend.
Ashley, what's going on? You said you were gonna call me 30 minutes ago.
It's a $70 million movie, and Raleigh's very unhappy with it.
You call him Raleigh?
Yeah, and Ted and I, we have to find him before he has one of his crazy fits.
Who's Ted?
Was that your boyfriend?
Yeah, he's a little eccentric. Raleigh? Oh my God, you're Francisco Vega.
Is that good or bad?
My roommate thinks you're the greatest thing to come along since the morning after pill.
Francisco Vega is in town with his new main squeeze on his arm.
My girlfriend dumped me for a movie star. Ooh, what are you doing here all alone?
I make dreams come true.
How do you do that?
I get 500, sweetie.
How'd you like to make 5,000? Mother, this is my girlfriend, Ashley Enright.
You better grow up and get a profession. You think a girl like that wants to live hand to mouth?
Funny you should put it that way. She's apparently onto a very big story. She takes her job very seriously.
I shouldn't imbibe so copiously. I become passionate, aggressive, absurd. I just...
Hey, Ashley.
I can't talk to you right now.
What could possibly be so secretive about that?
Unless there's some funny business going on.
Unless there's some funny business going on. This is real life.
Real life is fine for people who can't do any better.
It's supposed to be one tiny little lousy hour interview. Instead, we lost the whole weekend.
I'm onto a real story here.
Take off your raincoat.
I can't. I have no clothes underneath.
It's the movie is actually a controversial film, not because of the subject matter, but because who directed it. It's directed by Woody Allen, and it's
And written.
basically it's stars Timothée Chalamet from he was from Lady Bird, Ellie Fanning, Selena Gomez, Jude Law, Diego Luna, and Liev Schreiber. It's basically Timothy and Ellie Fanning are they're a couple. They going to college. His name is Gatsby, and that's his description like a brainy and eccentric son of a wealthy New York City-based parents. And his girlfriend is studying journalism, and she's so she gets a job to go interview this independent filmmaker, esteemed filmmaker Roland Pollard, who's played by Liev Schreiber. So he tags along and says, "Hey, we're going to Manhattan. We interview and we can have go have dinner, whatever." And then at the same time, his mother's having some kind of event, some kind of gala. But he doesn't get along with his mother, so he's trying to do all this in New York and not really have her find out that he's there. And then it just pretty much goes into, the shenanigans that they get into, So the movie, I actually enjoy the movie. I like Woody Allen movies. I like his writing. The movie, the production coincided with the start of the Me Too movement, so. It kind of caused a resurgence in the interest of his 1992 case. So the movie, it was completed in post-production, and then Amazon shelved the film. They dropped it because they thought it was unmarketable because of Woody Allen. So they basically, it was the whole year it wasn't out, and it was the first time since 1981 that Woody has not had a film out the whole year since 1981 because
It's been a while.
because of the whole thing. Anyway, so I mean, Okay, I love the writing. I love his writing. I thought the actors looked a little too young for that kind of parlance. The way he writes movies reminds me of, again, like, going back to this movie, the one where she takes a lady's part in Hollywood.
Oh, you know that.
That's my reference to all these movies.
She takes
the Broadway. She takes over the young
All About
study.
Eve.
All these movies, I use that as my reference because the dialogue.
All About Eve?
Yeah.
Yeah, Woody Allen
I
writes.
love that.
Woody
I love
Allen
that movie.
writes movies that should be done in the 40s or 30s because
That's his
he's kind of
genre.
stuck there. So when we're now in the 2000 something and the kids, they're not having this kind of language. They talk. They're more like, hey man, did you hear my TikTok video yesterday? So they're not. This is too sophisticated. And then even though the actors are in their 20s, I thought the choice of actors, they look really young for the 20s even. Timothée Chalamet looks like he's 16 to me. Selena Gomez looks like she was 12. And talking like all this. So, and also Diego Luna. And Diego Luna's, so it must be the Latino gene. He looks like he's 16 too. And so only Liev Schreiber I kind of believe who would have talked that way. And Jude Law, the only two I believe would have talked that way. So to me, it's not one of his best films. It's not like Midnight in Paris. I love that movie. And it's again slice of life, characters getting into shenanigans. I like I like about his movies is the jazz. So it was New York jazz. Takes you to a different time. Except that I would have preferred if this movie would have been like the time period would have been like the 40s or 30s. But yeah, so that's my thing.
Patty.
Oh God. Well, Debbie Downer here again. As much as I hated Madre, at least I got 10 minutes of goodness. From beginning to end, this movie just sucked. It sucked because there was no movie. Well, I don't like Woody Allen movies, except for maybe one he did 35,000 years ago. But it's just not, it's so bad that I don't even remember most of it until George just told me what it was about. And that was the movie I watched. Now, usually if I don't like a movie that much, I'll watch it again, but I can't do it.
I was going to say, remember
You can't make me, I can't do
remember the
it.
part at the end where the kid ends up being a vampire?
No, I do love horror movies and all that stuff, but I'm very selective about my horror movies. It just kept dragging on just like Madre did. And it didn't have any interesting plot. I mean, the plot wasn't interesting. There was no witty banter. There was no
witty banter. Are you
I thought the
kidding?
banter was the best part of it.
Remember, I said I do not like Woody Allen movies. I don't think he's witty and he doesn't banter well.
No, and he's very New York. I mean, let's
But I
face
love
it,
New York. But I like New York movies.
I thought the movie, the one thing I like about that he did one thing is that he explained the kid's character, his personality, why he's that way. Where he realizes why he's that way. Timothée Chalamet, his character. One thing about Woody Allen too, he's really hung up on adultery and stuff like that because everybody's doing that in his movies. Someone's always sitting.
And he was too, so I'm sure he has a lot of experience at it. But that aside, it's like I just didn't find it interesting at all. I found it boring for the first. I kept thinking, no, I didn't even keep thinking it's going to get better. I just knew it was going to keep going. It was like a flat line. It's like somebody's dead and nobody could put that heartbeat back in. So that's my opinion of it.
Okay, I love this movie. It was so well written. It was entertaining. If I close my eyes, the character Gatsby was Woody Allen, and you know what I mean. It's like
I'm sorry. Every main character in this movie is a Woody Allen.
Yes, but and that was like Owen Wilson too in Midnight in Paris. If I shut my eyes. I've
got to see that.
It's Woody Allen, and I love Woody Allen. Like I love his role. Yes. No, I love his role in his movies. Do you know what I mean? I like that. He's just like you were talking about the Coen brothers.
Yes.
He's just constantly nervously talking all the time, and I just love.
Self-deprecating.
It's so funny. Yes, the dialogue was so clever. Although, like George. I found it very strange to hear these words coming out of these modern actors. Right. Because I really, like you said, I never heard a TikTok. I don't even know, did I ever see an iPhone? I'm not even sure. Right? You know what I mean?
I don't think there was.
You know, it just, to me, if this would have been a period piece, but I don't know how they
But the
would
movie's
have
supposed to
done
be
it.
now. It's supposed to be this time period. So
This is how I saw it. It was like the actors felt wrong to me. They were too modern.
Right,
Right.
absolutely.
I felt like it was a different era. I felt like Lauren Bacall should be playing Selena Gomez part, and I felt like Judy Garland would play like Elle Fanning. You know, the spunky
or what's that little
reporter.
blonde that's all those movies like A Touch of Mink.
Doris Day.
Doris Day.
Doris
Like
Day could have been
the, like the spunky.
Actually, yes.
The
I can see that.
spunky reporter. You know what I mean? It's like it felt
Lucky.
like a different era.
Yeah.
But I didn't care. I just loved it. The Gatsby character.
Timothée Chalamet.
Yeah, he's way too good looking to play a Woody Allen part. You know what I mean?
And that's why Woody Allen picked him.
You know, yes, but Owen Wilson is also good looking, but he felt more like Woody Allen. You know what I mean? He felt
Right,
because
he
he's a
does.
little older.
Right.
You know, and he seemed
Because they also have a touch of kind of like goofiness to them. Where
Yes.
Chalamet almost looks like he could be the lead singer or some kind of the
rock
Cure or
band.
something.
Yeah, exactly. So other than that, but I don't care. I just love this movie. Loved him. The dialogue is so clever, and it actually, unlike what Patty said, it has a really interesting culmination. It goes to a really kind of interesting place. So that's my opinion. I loved it.
Well, I basically agree with almost all of you guys. Because
For different
first of all,
reasons.
You
For-
cannot
for
agree
dis-
with me and Patty.
For
Come on.
different
no,
reasons.
believe it or not, again, because I love Woody Allen, and I thought, okay, here's an interesting movie because you're right. The movies I love is when he's doing movies about his age group and his peers.
Yes.
So it's always middle-aged people
Yes.
kvetching about love, romance, and of course New York City.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, whenever Woody Allen does a movie in New York City, I cannot not like it. I
Yeah.
just will like it.
Well,
period.
he gets that down really well.
And that's, for example, one of the lines I loved. I mean, it made me laugh out loud because he always has a line. But this time, I think it had to do with the Gatsby character saying something about how, oh, this city, you know, it's just full of anxiety and hostility and paranoia. I said, it's so exhilarating. And I thought that is what New York really is like. That's where the energy's coming from for all that neurosis, right? That Woody Allen likes to do. But I do agree that if the dialogue coming out should be more for these 40-something people than the
Yes.
young kids.
Yes.
But in saying that, it sort of reminded me of J.D. Salinger, you know, the kind of Franny and Zooey kind of.
Yes.
I mean, these people live in a nicer part of New York, and you know, they both come. And that's another thing that should be pointed out. They're both come from extremely wealthy families.
Yeah.
They always do.
Well, the girl was the interesting one because what I like from her is that she's from Arizona. So, like you said about Doris Day, she's representing the Midwest or that kind of
Yeah,
somebody who's not a
wholesomeness.
city girl.
Yeah.
But exactly, Elle Fanning really put, and I cannot deny that I thought all the performances were very good, because Elle Fanning is playing this very sweet girl with this neurotic kind of kid who has problems with his family. Not a horrible problem, but you had said earlier that doesn't want to see his mother. Like, okay, we're going to go to New York. We can't ask for tickets for Hamilton for my father, so we're just going to go and do these things in New York, like the Pierre or the Carlisle, where he talks about certain things, because this is so New York.
She
Again,
was,
that's what I
she
love.
was ends up with all these guys that she wants into, and they all want to marry her, basically.
Well, that's the part I thought was hilarious, because
That's
again,
great.
here's you take somebody who's not a New Yorker and becomes the attractive point to all these New Yorkers. Right? but what's sort of fascinating, because like again, Jude Law was like just
that's great.
stunning to me, because like I can't believe Jude Law's playing this character, and he's got the Woody Allen neurosis down pat. I mean, that's the performance I thought stood out. Him and Cherry Jones playing Gatsby's mother.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
she I thought was very good, and in fact, she actually has the highlight of the film to me, because that's the only time the film sort of does make sense to me.
Yes.
'Cause most of the part, it's just a frivolous, let's go through New York,
Yeah.
sort of this, like you said, 40s screwball comedy, except it's not fast-paced enough. I don't quite believe the characters
Right.
at times, you know.
It's
and
really
so,
the casting. It's just they're too young.
well, it's just not
too
so much-
modern.
It's
But
not
it's
too
also a Hollywood life. It's not real life. People
Well,
do that
that's
part.
the thing. See, that's the thing that takes me back, is the fact that it's like, okay, this is a Woody Allen's look at what he thinks 20-somethings behave like. Now, they were on cell phones, because if you don't remember that Gatsby and
did?
Elle I think, what was her name?
Ellie Fanning?
No, her
Her name,
character?
Ashley.
Ashley, right? Ashley.
With a Y or something? With
No.
the E-I-N.
Yeah, she spells out her name, right? They're constant contacting because they're supposed to meet for this. He's set up this perfect romantic date, and she keeps having to say, "Oh, I can't come because I have to go with this person. Oh, I have to do." She gets caught up in that New York lifestyle that she is completely innocent of. She's enjoying every single minute, and she's just exuding this sort of wonderful personality about it, right?
Yes.
Which is why, of course, all the guys are seeming to want her around, right? And that's when you see the Gatsby character, you know, help out a friend by being in a small little scene with a film that they're shooting. And it's like, okay, here's Selena Gomez now that's getting thrown into the thing. And that's what I think is lacking. It's like, okay, by the time you get to the end of the movie, you sort of understand how it ends, but I'm still thinking, how weird is this? I don't understand how he came to this conclusion. Meaning, I was rather muddled about the behavior of the characters only because
You mean
of
Gatsby?
literally, well,
Gatsby?
no, of all the characters except for the Ashley character. She's the only genuine character in my
that's
opinion.
true.
Yeah.
Which is why I like what he's exuding is that how sweetness, literally a sweet-tempered person will just be liked in New York.
Right.
It's sort of what I see his thesis as. But will this person be able to survive in New York? That's when you think, no, she can't.
Because she would turn into one of those people.
Right, which is why, you know, her father, you know, she keeps saying, oh, yeah, and my father owns banks. That's all she mentions.
You know, that's the main problem with me, too. It had no conclusion.
Oh, it does have a conclusion.
Well, it has a conclusion, but I think a very unsatisfactory and a very one almost thrown together.
Yeah, it was like, what should we do at the end? Oh, let's do this.
Right.
Well, let's
exactly.
say I don't agree with the conclusion. Like I told him, I don't agree with his choices.
We all just like the conclusion.
I disagree.
But see, in my opinion, though, it's a very romantic conclusion. I mean, when they talk about, you know, movies where people meet at the clock and, you know, because that was the Delacorte clock in Central Park, a must see if you ever go to New York and walk through the park. So it's stuff like that. Again, you can tell how much he loves New York.
But you see,
know, and that's what I appreciate about his movies.
but
He should be the ambassador.
No, here's the
Yes.
here's the movie is that I hate New York and I love the movie, right? And all his movies are about New York. But I really like the dialogue in his movies. I like the that he loves New York. You know,
Or it's
he loves
like a
this.
Coen Brothers movie, the dialogue.
Yeah, it's like
not
did I like
compare
it's
him
like
to
do
the
I like
Coen
the
brothers.
Sopranos? Yeah, I like the Sopranos. Do I want to live in a mafia family? No. It's like it's the same kind of thing. It's like it's got a very distinct personality. It's very funny. It's very witty. It's got a lot of energy.
What movie was that?
But do I just New York? Just New York.
Yes.
But do I want to live there? No.
Oh, see, I'd love to live
So
in New York.
I don't
know
think you
that,
have to
yeah.
love New York to love them, to love Woody Allen movies and his love of New York.
Well, I think you have to have some understanding of it because it really does explain, I think, throughout his entire career. And, you know, and they always said that nebbish, neurotic, you know, Woody Allen, that, as we talked about earlier, about taking Valiums and taking things like, I
Hey,
can't.
mine's
it's too
for
much.
medical reasons.
We were talking about Gambit.
No, we're talking about
Let's
your,
vote on it.
no,
Let's vote on
Gambit.
it.
we're
Move
talking about
on.
your mother. We're talking about your mother.
Oh, yeah, she did. I forgot.
Okay, so let's score this, Patricia.
1.
Okay,
Back once.
I give it an 8. Very enjoyable.
I give it 7.
Yeah, I give it an 8 too. Yeah. I still
Okay,
enjoyed it.
Team 8.